Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to the assembled Vaishnava devotees. So we thank you all for being here. Today, again, we are fortunate to be here to share amongst ourselves and with others the wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam. So today's text is going to be taken from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, texts 3 and 4. Okay. Nama Ama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tilta Saminiti Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Tatmane Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tat Namine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudira Nashta Prayashu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamaśloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Right. So, yeah. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, texts 3 and 4. Prapachache mam evartham yanamam prachata satamaha Krishna nubhava shravane shradadano mahamanaha samshtam vijaya sanyasya karma traya vargikam chayat vasudeve bhagavati Atma bhavam dridam gataha prapachache mam evartam yanamam prachata satamaha Krishna nubhava shravane shradadano mahamanaha samshtam vijaya sanyasya karma traya vargikam chayat Vasudeve Bhagavati Atma Bhavam Dridam Gataha Praprachache Mam Evartam Yanmam Prachata Satamaha Krishna Nubhava Shravane Shradadano Mahamanaha Samshtam Vijaya Sanyasya Karma Traye Vargikam Chayat Vasudeve Bhagavati Atma Bhavam Dridam Gataha. Synonyms. Prapracha, asked. Cha, also. Imam, this. Eva, exactly like. Artham, purpose. Yat, that. Mam, unto me. Prachata, you are asking. Satamaha, O great sages. Krishna Nubhava, wrapped in thought of Krishna. Shravane, in hearing. Shradadanaha, full of faith. Mahamanaha, the great soul. Samshtam, death. Vijaya, being informed. Sanyasya, renouncing. Karma, fruitive activities. Trayavargikam, the three principles: religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Cha also, yet what it may be, Vasudeva, unto Lord Krishna, Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead, Atmabhavam, attraction of love, Dridam, firmly fixed, Gataha, achieved. Translation prepared by Jagat Guru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. All great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna, and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. Purport. The three activities of religion, economic development, and sense gratification are generally attractive for conditioned souls struggling for existence in the material world. Such regulated activities prescribed in the Vedas are called the karma kandya conception of life, and householders are generally recommended to follow the rules just to enjoy material prosperity both in this life and in the next. Most people are attracted by such activities. Even in the activities of their modern godless civilization, people are more concerned with economic development and sense gratification without any religious sentiments. As a great emperor of the world, Maharaj Parikshit had to observe such regulations of the Vedic Karma Kandya section, but by his slight association with Shukadeva Goswami, he could perfectly understand that Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead Vasudeva, for whom he had a natural love since his birth, is everything, and thus he fixed his mind firmly upon him, upon Krishna, renouncing all modes of Vedic karma kandya activities. This perfectional stage is attained by a journey after many, many births. The journeys, or the empiric philosophers endeavoring for liberation, are thousands of times better than the fruitive workers. And out of hundreds of thousands of such journeys, one is liberated factually. And out of hundreds of thousands of such liberated persons, even one person is rarely found who can firmly fix his mind onto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, as declared by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita 7:19. And I would like us to go to Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Bhagavad Gita 7:19 says, Bahunam janmanam ante janavanam prapatyante vasudeva sarvam iti mahatma sudur labha. So one of the popular, famous verses in the Bhagavad Gita. After Bahunam, many, After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bahunam, Janmanam, and Te. Then we go back to continue. Marriage Parikshit is specifically qualified with the word Mahamanaha, which puts him on an equal level with the Mahatmas described in the Bhagavad Gita. In the later age also, there have been many Mahatmas of this type, and they also give up all karma kandiya conceptions of life, solely and wholly dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, who is Lord Krishna himself, taught us in his Sikshastaka, stanza 8. Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karativa ya tatatava vidadatu lampatu matprananatastu sa eva naparaha. Lord Krishna, who is the lover of many devotees, women, may embrace this fully surrendered maidservant, or may trample me with his feet, or he may render me brokenhearted by not being present before me for a long duration of time. But still, he is nothing less than the absolute Lord of my heart. In other translations, it's also translated that he is my Lord, whether he reveals himself to me or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is my worshipful Lord unconditionally, life after life. Then Sri Rupa Goswami also spoke. Virachaya mayidandam dinabando dayamva gatir ihana babataha kachit anya mamashti nipatatu satakoti nirbaram vanavambaha tat apikila payodaha striyate chatakena. Translation. O Lord of the poor, do what you like with me. Give me neither mercy or punishment. Give me either mercy or punishment. But in this world, I have none to look to except your Lordship. The Chataka bird always prays for the cloud, regardless of whether it showers rains or throws a thunderbolt. And Sri Madhavendra Puri, the grand spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya, took leave of all karma kandiya obligations in the following words. And I quote, Sandhya Vandana Badram Ashtu Bhavato Bo Snana Tubhyam Namo Bodeva Pitarascha Tarpana Vedau Nadam Shamaha Sham Yatam Yatra Kwapi Deshadya Yadava Kulutamasya Kamsa Drishaha Smaram Agam Harami Tad alam manye kim anyana me. End quote. Translation. Oh, my evening prayer, all good unto you. Oh, my morning bath, I bid you goodbye. Oh, demigods and forefathers, please excuse me. I am unable to perform any more offerings for your pleasure. Now, I have decided to free myself from all reactions to sin simply by remembering anywhere and everywhere the great descendant of Yadu and the great enemy of Kamsa, Lord Krishna. I think that this is sufficient for me. So what is the use of further endeavors? And SAHADEVA, the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master, again prays. Mugdam mam nigadantu niti ni puna brantam muhu vaidi kaha mandam bandava sanchaya jada diyam mukta daraha sudaraha unmitam danino vivekacha turaha kamam maha dam vikam muktumna kshamate manag apimano Govinda pada spriham. This is one of my favorite quotes. So it translates as this: let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusioned. I do not mind. Let the experts in Vedic activities slander me as being misled. May friends and relatives call me frustrated. My brothers may call me a fool. The wealthy Mammonites may point me out as mad. And the learned philosophers may assert that I am much too proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I be unable to do it. End of quote. And also, Sri Prahlad Maharaj says, Dharmartha kama iti yobi bihitas tri varga ikshatrayi naya damo vivida chatvarta manyitat etat akilam nigamasya satyam swat marpanam swat suhridaha paramasya pumsaha. Translation: religion, economic development, and self-gratification are celebrated as three means of attaining the path of salvation. Of these, Ikshatrayi especially, that is, knowledge of the self, knowledge of fruitive acts, and logic, and also politics and economics, are different means of livelihood. All these are different subjects of Vedic education, and therefore I consider them temporary engagements. On the other hand, surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, is a factual gain in life, and I consider it the ultimate truth. So this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6, text number 26. The whole matter is concluded in Bhagavad Gita 2:41 as Vyavatsayatmeka Buddhi, or the absolute path of perfection. So let's see what is said in 2:41, Bhagavad Gita 2:41. Srila Prabhupada quoted just the first line. Vyavatsayatmeka Buddhi. Ekeha kuru nandana bahu shaka hi anantascha budayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one, O beloved child of the Kurus. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great Vaishnava scholar, defines this as Bhagavad Archana Rupayika Nishkama Karma Bir Vishuddha Chitaha, accepting transcendental loving service to the Lord as the prime duty, free from fruitive reaction. So Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right when he firmly accepted the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, renouncing all karma kandiya conceptions of life. Om Jana Timrandasya, Jana Jana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katama Yam Dadati Swakatantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shritatmani Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti 39. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurabani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarini. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Lampavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Ya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gora Tuishe Namaha. Nama Brahmanya Devya Go Brahmana Hitaya Chat Gagadetaya Krishna Ya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. So I'll take the verse again. All great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. Hare Krishna. So as we continue to relish Srimad Bhagavatam as spoken by Shukadev Goswami and heard by Maharaj Parikshit, and is hereby being repeated by Sutta Goswami, who was a direct disciple of Shukadev Goswami and had also learned from Shukadev Goswami and is now a spiritual master, like his spiritual master. So he is repeating the Bhagavatam spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit to a great number of assembled sages. And so he is speaking to them that all great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounce all sorts of creative activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly. That is a key word I would want us to concentrate our minds on. He fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. So Sutta Goswami is telling the assembled great sages that all these intelligent questions you are asking me were also asked by the intelligent emperor, Maharaj Parikshit. And they were answered perfectly by Sukadeva Goswami. And just as Sukadeva Goswami answered Maharaj Parikshit, I'm also going to attempt to answer you exactly as Sukadeva Goswami answered Maharaj Parikshit. So here we see that there is no shame in repeating what previous acharyas have said. In modern world, people do not want to make reference to other people. People will learn from others, but then they would claim that it is originally their thought. And therefore, in academic writing, whenever you write academically, it is expected of you to make a referential quote. You have to quote, you have to make a reference of whom said what you are saying, or who said something similar to what you are saying. In other words, even in modern education, there is also the recognition that there are authorities that we need to follow. And so if you're writing an essay on any particular topic, it could be astrophysics, it could be economics, it could be history, it could be religion, it could be humanities, anything. Whenever one writes a paper, one is expected to quote an authoritative source to support what he or she is saying in his article. So Sutta Goswami is humbly proud to tell the assembled sages that what I am about to answer you to your question was already answered because it was already asked by Maharaj Parikshit and it was answered by Sukadeva Goswami. And so we see Srila Prabhupada giving purport to this particular important texts, texts 3 and 4, made a very extensive quotes from different sources and from different personalities. He quoted twice from Madhavendra Puri. He quoted from Prahlad Maharaj. He quoted from Bhagavad Gita. And he quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam. So many important, relevant, and very appropriate quotes to support the statement that in the Vedic scriptures, there are different divisions for different divisions or classes of people in life. Just as there are different categories of people in life based on the level of consciousness and therefore their level of attraction to life in general, the Vedic scriptures are also divided into such categories. We have those who are interested in karma kanda. Karma kanda or karma kandiya means that one is very much interested in religious principles, economic progress, and then one also is very much interested in how to really gratify and enjoy the senses. So these are the three different categories that most people who are not in touch with the Supreme Absolute as he is are recommended to follow. And gradually, by following such karma kanda practices, one may eventually come to the level of Shuddha Sattva, where one is no more interested in anything but in Vasudeva. And so Srila Prabhupada quoted Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna states that after many births and deaths, Bahunam Janma Antakale, after many births and deaths, one who is fortunate enough may attain liberation. And out of hundreds and thousands of those who have even attained liberation, hardly anyone knows him in truth. In other words, it is not so easy, it is not so common, it is not so simple for a soul to firmly, like Sutta Goswami said, to firmly dedicate one's life in terms of body, our physical body, our mental, our emotion, our psychological, everything about our being is firmly dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna. It's very difficult and very rare. And we are fortunate in the sense that we are in the process. And as long as we are in the process, it may be today, it may be tomorrow, it may be a day after tomorrow, but eventually, that firm determination of serving Krishna and no one else, and engaging all our activities, everything in pleasing Krishna and no one else, will be attained, will be realized, will be experienced. So this is a hope for us that no matter where we are at in our spiritual pursuit, there is always the hope that we shall attain Krishna someday. In order for us to attain Krishna, certain things are required. And one of such necessary things that are required is determination. If we do not have determination, then it's going to be very difficult to attain Krishna. Because in order to achieve anything substantial in life, there must be some amount of struggle. If there is no struggle, there is no way you're going to attain or achieve anything substantial in life. We may hear of millionaires and billionaires in life, in the world, and if we study the lives of these billionaires, if we study the lives of these multi-millionaires, their lives is such that some of us may not want to live. There was one millionaire who was interviewed some few years ago, and when he described how he lives his life, he sleeps for just about 4 hours a day. He sleeps for just 4 hours a day. The remaining 20 hours, he is busy. So Srila Prabhupada says that the surest way of attaining Krishna is the eagerness of wanting to attain Krishna. If we are so eager that we want to attain Krishna in this lifetime, no matter what, I am determined that I want to attain Krishna in this lifetime, the possibility is there. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada is here and he has scientifically outlined the gradual but effective process of attaining Krishna in this lifetime. If devotees simply follow what Srila Prabhupada has outlined for us to follow, and we follow sincerely and duly, it is very likely and very possible to attain Krishna. And when we follow this process sincerely and faithfully, and our effort is not even good enough, then the spiritual master intervenes. The spiritual master comes in, and the spiritual master says, yes, I saw how much you were struggling to serve me. I saw how much you were struggling to serve the parampara. I saw how much you were struggling to serve the devotees. I saw how much you were struggling to sincerely serve Krishna by serving the servants of the servants of the servants of Sri Krishna. And therefore, you did all you could. Come along. And the spiritual master takes us back home, back to Godhead. In the text itself and in the purport, Sutta Goswami clearly indicated, and Srila Prabhupada reaffirmed such indication, that serving the Supreme Lord is the natural state of the soul. For us as loving entities, our natural situation, our constitutional situation, position, is that to serve Krishna. And because that is our natural constitutional position, when we do not serve Krishna, we suffer. We feel empty. And that is why in this world, everyone feels unfulfilled. Everyone feels unhappy. There are some happiness that we can gain from this, that we can get from this, that, but they are very temporary. And that is why Madhavendra Puri prays that all this temporary happiness, I'm no more interested in them. I want to enjoy a happiness that is permanent, because I am myself a permanent being. So I do not want to be engaging in things that are temporary. And again, he prays that since I have taken to serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Vasudeva, so many people are going to stand outside looking at what I am doing, how I am doing things, and they'll make a mockery of me. They'll say so many things about me. And just like devotees, it does happen. When you dress as a Vaishnava in a dhoti, with a sikha, with a tilak, or if you are Mataji, with a tilak, with sari, and more especially if you are not an Indian, You're an African, you are a Westerner, and you dress like this, and you do not eat meat, you do not eat fish, you do not eat eggs, you do not go out partying, people begin to wonder, what is wrong with you at all? For goodness sake, why do you have to torture yourself this much? You don't eat this, you don't eat that, you don't eat this, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't go here, you don't. How do you enjoy life? Oftentimes, these people who do not understand the lives of Hare Krishna devotees, they question like this. And sometimes when they do question like this, they question out of sympathy. They are very much concerned about the devotees. You have to enjoy life. How long are you going to live? But the sad part of their concern is that they are not understanding that devotees are trying to forget about all this temporary happiness and seek the eternal and permanent happiness, which is serving Krishna and his devotees. Srila Prabhupada said in the purport that we may become politicians, we may have degrees in philosophy, in science, in education, in whatever. We may have so much money, but once we die, we leave them here. And whatever we did, if we also attached religion to it, then it helps us in this present life and also in the next life. And therefore, we remember when His Holiness Kavichandra Swami Maharaj spoke, I think it was this Monday when Maharaj spoke, this Monday or Friday, I don't remember, but recently Maharaj, His Holiness Kavichandra Maharaj spoke. He gave a Bhagavatam class, and there was a question asked, and it was related to wealth, material opulence. And Maharaj wonderfully, beautifully, and perfectly answered that whenever someone has material wealth, riches, it's as a result of karma. In other words, the lives that we live today, if there is religion attached to whatever we are doing today, then based on that religion, practices, the religiosity that we practice in connection to whatever we were doing, will give us the opportunity to be rich again in our next life. It could be coming back into this world or going into another world where we can also enjoy much riches, even better than what we experience in this material world. Because there are other worlds where the level of gratifying or satisfying the pullings of the senses are much, much finer and much higher. Like in the heavens, the sense gratification in the heavens is much, much, much more than the enjoyment we experience on this earth planet. But Madhavendra Puri says, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in coming back or going somewhere else and enjoying these material opulences. No. My enjoyment, my satisfaction, my conviction is that as long as it is my constitutional responsibility to serve you, the Supreme Lord, That is what I am going to do. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya taught us that you are my worshipable Lord, Krishna. And whether you appear before me to make me happy, because whenever one sees Krishna and sees Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the immense satisfaction one derives is unimaginable, it's incalculable. And it's so satisfying that you do not want to have anything else. You do not want to engage in anything else that does not have any connection with pleasing and serving the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya, in his Sikshastaka prayers, and Srila Prabhupada quoted that also, that is stanza 8, that Ashrishava Padans, if you appear before me, if you make me brokenhearted by not being present before me, even if you handle me roughly, if you embrace me, all right. If you mishandle me, all right. No matter what, you're still going to be my worshipable Lord. In other words, the determination of serving Krishna under all circumstances is there. And once that determination of serving Krishna under all circumstances, whether in riches, whether in poverty, whether in good health, whether in poor health, just like when we do enter into marriage, we say that. We say whether in riches or in poverty, whether in sickness, whether in good health, you're going to be my spouse till death do us apart. Even in this material world, we do make such commitment. So why can't we make such commitment with the Supreme Lord? That no matter what, whether you appear before me, whether you make life so difficult for me, whether you make life so easy for me, you're still my worshipable Lord. And personally, I have been saying, and therefore I've been asking questions, that because Krishna himself has stated in the Bhagavatam that when a servant of his becomes so dear to him, he takes away all his material enjoyment. And I personally, I like to have some material enjoyment. And sometimes I become scared that if I try to serve Krishna and I become so dear to Krishna, then the little material sense gratification I'm getting, Krishna says, I'm taking it away. I love you so much, Sahadeva. And so sometimes I have the fear and concern that Krishna is going to take away the little material sense gratification I have. I have a small place to lay my head. Krishna says, I love you so much, I'm going to take that away from you. So I asked this question to one of my Srimad Bhagavatam teachers. And he smiled, he laughed, he said, no. Yes, Krishna may do that, but at the same time, we should understand that Krishna is the sweetest father you can ever imagine in life. He's so sweet. His kindness is beyond the kindness that we can explain. And so he gave a very beautiful analogy. And when he gave that analogy, I immediately remembered my senior godbrother, Harichakra Prabhu. So he said that my teacher, in answering my question that Krishna may be so much in love with me, and therefore will take so many material amenities I have that is helping me keep serving Krishna. He said, no. So he said, you see, sometimes a father who loves his child, his baby, A father loves his baby so much, especially your firstborn. Becoming a first father, your firstborn, you love him so much, you love her so much. But sometimes you see the father carry the baby and throw the baby and leave the baby. And the baby gets so frightened because the baby thinks that he or she is going to be dropped. But what happens? The father catches him. And that is why I said, it reminded me so much of Harichakra, because Harichakra is very much fond of doing that. Harichakra will carry a baby, throw the baby, as if, and leave the baby. You know, sometimes you carry the baby up and then you bring the baby down, all the while the baby in your grip. But sometimes you throw the baby out of your grip and the baby is just free falling, and then you catch the baby. So he gave me this analogy that sometimes Krishna does that. Krishna carries you, throws you out, and then he leaves you out of his grip. And you entertain the fear that you're going to fall and break a bone and maybe die. But Krishna is so sweet. He catches you. He catches you before you even fall. And so we should not have any doubts. We should not have any fears. And once we surrender to Krishna, Krishna would make sure that whatever is necessary for our upkeep to serving him are provided. And even things that may not be within our reach, simply because we have dedicated and surrendered to Krishna, Krishna will arrange for such things to happen. And so there is, Madhavendra Puri is quoted here twice by Srila Prabhupada. It is the same Madhavendra Puri who was so much absorbed in serving Krishna. So one time he was in meditation, and in his meditation, he was thinking, when will I ever have the opportunity to cook for my Lord Krishna? And then my Lord will say that, oh no, this prasadam is too hot. Let it cool down before you give it to me. Or when will I be in the service of Krishna, Vasudeva, fanning him, and he will tell me, no, don't fan me this way, fan me that way. So when I read that, I was very much inspired. And I also prayed like that one day. I also prayed, I hope and pray that one day I will be fanning my Guru. And my Guru would tell me, don't fan me this way, fan me that way. I prayed like that. And lo and behold, it did happen. So one day, my Gurudev had visited our zone in Ghana. And of course, it was around this time, like around June, July, summer. So it was really hot. And I was fanning him, using the peacock feather, fanning him, but it wasn't blowing much air. So Gurudev saw a straw fan hanging on the wall. So he told me, says, Sahadev, do not use this, use that. And immediately I remembered the prayer I prayed. So whatever we are reading here is doable, is applicable, is something that can be practiced and the results achieved. And just like some few days ago, some devotees were circulating a message that His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Swami said, which was all along my understanding. So I was very much happy with myself. Maharaj was saying that in Krishna consciousness, the end justifies the means is not always true. Because in Krishna consciousness, the results is in the effort. as long as we are trying our best to serve Guru Krishna and the devotees, if even the expected results do not manifest, we are still winners. We are not losers. And therefore, in Krishna consciousness, there is no losers. Everybody gains, everybody wins. So we are very much blessed. We are very much fortunate. We are meeting here every day, reading Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, speaking Bhagavatam, thinking Bhagavatam, because before we even came here, we were thinking of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am speaking the Bhagavatam today because I knew I was going to speak the Bhagavatam. I looked at the verse, thought about it, and in all these processes, I am getting connected to Krishna because Bhagavat person and Bhagavat book are non-different. So just as we are all here thinking, hearing, seeing the words of the Bhagavatam, we're getting purified. This particular process where we are reading Canto 2, Chapter 4, is telling us the gradual process. So gradually, we are practicing what we need to practice to come to the spontaneous love of Godhead, where we do not even have to make any endeavor to chant. We do not have to make any endeavor to listen to Bhagavatam. The love to hearing Bhagavatam will automatically be there. The love to chant our japa will automatically be there. But if it's not there yet, we should not give up because it's a gradual process. And once we are in this boat of transcendence, it is guaranteed that we're going to get to our destination, back home, back to God. Hare Krishna. So I would like to end here. And if devotees have questions, realizations, comments, please, you may do that. Hare Krishna, and thank you for your rapt attention to hearing Bhagavatam, just like Maharaj Parikshit and the great sages of Naimisharanya had so much rapt attention to Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sarika Prabhu.
Please accept my respectful obeisances. Our glories to his confounder, Charashla Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Our glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Our glories to assembled devotees who are assembled on this platform, and on those who are listening on YouTube. First, I want to appreciate the beauty of this Sangha, because it feels like you're not complete when you're not here. And I think I've experienced that in the last couple of days. I just take solace in the fact that the prayers and the blessings of the devotees are with me. I was in a program recently, and I was for kind of a cohesion's sake, trying to blend. I had to wear a traditional dress, and I was privileged to be the chief guest to have the opening ceremony of that event, which had about 47 countries across the globe. And I had to start the prayer. And I was just remembering Srila Gurudev. I went with the dhoti kota. I went with different types of clothes based on instructions from the organizers. So when it was about the time because I was going to start the whole event all together, so I was thinking of going on dhoti to the opening event. So one of the organizers said, well, we all know who you are. More than half of the people who are in this opening ceremony knows you as who you are. But we want the African traditional culture to reflect, because the reflections on the Africans being able to represent themselves in the space of religious tradition in the world is wanting to be expressed. We don't mind the language in which manner you prayed. So I had to wear 1,500. Every Nigerian man will understand what I mean by that. So I was praying. So when I started praying, and I started by chanting at home. So I chanted the Gayatri mantra first, then I went into Hare Krishna mantra and all of that. And one thing I was remembering is how Gurudev, I was just remembering how Gurudev was dressed in different kinds of a way to attend different programs. And I will start appreciating what he has established. And remembering Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's predictions. Why I'm mentioning all of this is that in your course of lecture, you have spoken nicely how the acharyas, our gurus, have demonstrated by their lifestyle and giving us an opportunity to be in the space of bhakti. And you nicely shared how such of their lifestyle have made you as an individual to be sitting here now in their presence speaking Bhagavatam. And I was just reflecting how we also are like in the space of in the beginning you were talking about the saging of Nami Sarayans sitting, and thousands of sages were listening. And I was just reflecting. I just came back and I just got a call. I was just responding to the mail when the class started. I called from Korea, and I didn't know this organization before, but some reference was there. And they just invited to have some sections of preaching on importance of Kali Yuga, or I think I still have that document in my front here. It is talking about just a moment, I'm trying to, yeah, okay. It's talking about the signs of the end times and the new era, and and the importance of the predictions in the scriptures and how they fulfill. So, and as you were speaking, and I was just wondering how somehow or the other, the spiritual masters, the acharyas, have placed us in a kind of a situation where we just have to live by their examples, and why we find ourselves in this space. So my question in summary is this: how do we feel? How do we realize? You gave a narration that you prayed, free to having an opportunity to fancy like Gurudev. And when in the course of doing that, Gurudev gave you an instructions, and you immediately realized that the prayer you prayed before that moment was like answered. So my question is that how do we experience that our engagement in the service of Guru and Krishna is being accepted? So I'd like you to expand a little bit on that, because from your personal experience, you could really connect when that came. So in our endeavor to serve the spiritual masters and the acharyas and the Lord himself, how do we experience that empowerment, that fulfillment of our heart desire to serve the Lord?
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you, Salika Prabhu, and thank you for representing Krishna consciousness in different fronts in the outside world. I had asked this question before. You know, I'm always asking questions. Mm-hmm. I had asked this question before, and I don't remember all the answers that I was giving, but I remember partially an answer that I got. And my question was, we cook burger,
Mhm.
And we offer the bhoga to Krishna. And after Krishna has accepted, it becomes prasad, and devotees relish the prasad. Now, how do I, as a cook, know whether what I cooked for Krishna, Krishna did accept or not? And the answer I remember giving was that if the devotees enjoy and appreciate the food, it means Krishna accepted.
Mm.
And I remember following up, I said, well, from my personal experience, there were a couple of devotees. Anytime I cooked a particular preparation, those days when I used to do quite a good cooking, because they did not like that particular food, they say that, oh no, I don't think Krishna accepted this prasada. So I felt that when this answer was given, so I followed up. I said, well, sometimes the devotees may like whatever has been prepared just because that is just their favorite dish. So that may not necessarily be that because they are saying it's okay, Krishna accepted, or if they do not like the food, even though it is good, but simply because they don't like it, does not mean that Krishna did not accept it. And again, the answer was that Krishna eats and enjoys through his devotees. And so as long as the devotees are happy or satisfied with the preparation, it means Krishna is also happy. And so most of us are not in direct contact with Krishna. Like the Pandavas are always in direct contact with Krishna. So we are in contact with Krishna through his pure devotees. That may be debatable, who is a pure, who is not pure. But at least those who are devotees of the Lord, those who are devotees of the Lord, when they become pleased with our service, we should understand that the Lord is also pleased. If the devotees of the Lord are not pleased with our service, we should understand that the Lord is not pleased with our service. Now, here requires a little bit of intelligence, because we are saying devotees. And so those people we're referring to as devotees and giving the approval of our service or disapproval to our service, we should first of all figure out whether they are devotees or not devotees, whether they are hiding in the garb of devotees or they are sincere devotees. So there may be some devotees who, for the sake of not liking you, no matter what good thing you do, or no matter what good thing you say, they will be disapproving what you're saying or doing. We should be able to, excuse me to say, intelligent enough to differentiate who is sincerely giving approval or disapproval to our service and who, just for the sake of whatever reason it might be, enmity, jealousy, immaturity, not appreciating a service a particular devotee is performing. So one, if we have the necessary intelligence to know who we surround ourselves around with, If they are sincere devotees, if they disapprove of what we do or say, we should understand that this is coming from Krishna. If they approve, we should understand it's coming from Krishna. That is the answer I could give based on my remembrance to the answer I received from my question. Other devotees may add to it, or Salika Prabhu yourself, you may also add to it what experience you have in this regard.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, SAHADEVA Prabhu. I think I'm satisfied, but I see Sriman Varacharya Prabhu's good brother. I think he wants to share something on that. Sriman Varacharya Prabhu, please, kindly. Prabhuji, we see that you are unmuted, so probably you want to share some wealth of experience with us.
Hare Krishna, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So I just say that I mean I did not raise my hand. It was by mistake that I got unmuted. You know, so but somehow anyway, maybe somehow Krishna wants me to say something. First thing is that I'm very happy. First, seeing you again after many days. We've not been seeing you, Salika Prabhu, and good to hear the good, wonderful preaching activities you're doing. May Krishna continue to give you strength to do that. And the Bhagavatam, today's text and the purport just make me so happy. Since yesterday, I've been very, how do you say, hag, I don't know how to say that in French. So anyway, that the purport is very, very interesting. It kind of counteracted the whole, kind of mood that was set yesterday. So having said that, a little contribution to your question. Yeah, if we're doing anything and we want to know whether Krishna is pleased, I think that is the question. Is that the question? How to know whether Krishna is pleased?
Yes.
Yeah. First is that actually the goal of our service is to please Krishna. But then we learn to have the mood of Radharani in devotion. We don't want to enjoy Krishna through the service. We just want to do whatever that will please him. And if we're looking forward to approval, looking forward to, especially when we become too approval conscious, it can limit, how much we can really do for Krishna. We should just do it and do it for doing its sake, like Krishna says, just do it for its sake. And, it's up to Krishna. It's up to him, because if we are waiting to get, just like the example Sahadeva Prabhu gave of Keshava Maharaj saying that it doesn't necessarily depend on the result, because it's the effort that counts. The effort, the intention to want to do something for Krishna, that is what counts. Now, the end result, that depends on Krishna. And because if we're thinking like this, it means that we can easily become discouraged when we feel that our service is not being recognized, or maybe we're not getting what result we want. We can be discouraged if we're thinking like this. But devotees should become fixed. And if you want to become fixed in your service, you should just forget totally about what the result is. You're doing it and you're happy that you're doing it. That's all. Krishna told the gopis, your reward is in your service. It is not in what I'm going to give you. It's not in what you're going to get back. Your reward is just the fact that you are happy to do this. Because Krishna actually figured out that it cannot pay them back. So I think I would say we may give many theories about how one can feel satisfied, feel like Krishna is satisfied. We can give many theories, but The superior way of thinking is just, I'm doing it just for doing it for Krishna's sake. I'm not. I mean, like, the point is, devotees do not desire, for instance, mukti, liberation, which is like the end game result for all religious practitioners. They want salvation. But devotees don't even want that. Devotees don't. When Krishna wanted to know from Uddhava, who among my devotees love me most, and then he said, you want to know? No, Uddhava wanted to know. And Krishna said, you want to know? Go ask them all that I'm having a headache. Let them send the dust of their feet to cure me. All the so-called big devotees were scared. Ha, 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 ha. But you can see the gopis, the greatest of devotees, they were not scared. They said, no, take it, take as much as you want. Go give it to Krishna. Because whether we go to hell or whether we go to heaven, it doesn't matter to us. As long as, whatever we do, Krishna, Krishna approves, or Krishna wants it, or it satisfies Krishna. So they don't really care about what will be the result, pious or impious. That is what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 12. The devotee who is not attached to auspicious or inauspiciousness, that is the real devotee who is very dear to him. So I would say that yes, there are many ways we can figure out if Krishna is pleased, but the best way is just do it for doing his sake. Leave the result to Krishna. That's the only way you can remain fixed in your service. But if you're really concerned about whether Krishna is pleased or not, then you should be prepared for discouragement at some point. I hope I make some sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shamavara Prabhu. If I may add a word to what Prabhuji shared so beautifully. When I was speaking, I remember talking about different categories of people and also different categories of devotees. And this particular session we're discussing talks about the gradual process of realizing Krishna. So yes, what Shamara Prabhu just said is exactly what it is when one has developed himself spiritually to a certain level. But for Kanishtas, approval and disapproval from devotees is a must, because we do not yet know whether what we are doing or saying is right or wrong. And that is why we have senior devotees, advanced devotees who guide us. You should have spoken this way, not that way. And then we learn. And then when we learn and we get to a certain level, when we become some level of maturity has been achieved, then we get to this high level where Srimad Prabhu was saying. And in fact, Madhavendra Puri said that in the text when Srila Prabhupada shared that. And I would like us to go back. It says here, actually this one was from Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami says, the Chataka bird always prays for the cloud, regardless of whether it showers rains or throws a thunderbolt. So no matter what, he's still going to pray. So no matter what, whether there is approval, disapproval, the devotee is still going to render his or her service to the Supreme Lord. But that can only be healthy and helpful when one has developed to a certain level to understand what is wrong, what is right, and not paying so much attention to approval from other people. Again, Madhavendra Puri, when he prayed, he also said this, that he says, now I have decided to free myself from all reactions to sins simply by remembering anywhere and everywhere the great descendant of Yadu and the great enemy of Krishna. I think that this is sufficient for me. And again, here, he said, he's not looking for any approval from anybody. I do not mind the experts. The Vedic activities may slander me, even the scriptures themselves. What I am doing to serve the Lord, some portion of the scriptures will slander me, that I'm misled. I do not care. Just like Lord Chaitanya, he was criticized that you are a sannyasi. What you're doing, that is not what sannyasis do. But he did not care. And so the learned philosophers, they may have said that I'm much too proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I be unable to do it. So yes, when by Guru Krishna's grace, we have learned from senior devotees to understand what is to be done, what is not to be done, then we get to a certain level where we no more pay close attention to what others say. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada told us that being a devotee is not going to be easy, it's not going to be simple. That is why this determination is very, very important to be there, that I am determined to do what I'm going to be doing. Because Srila Prabhupada gave example of himself in a conversation in 1977, where he was speaking to his disciples that, do not think devotional service is going to be easy or simple. So I'm speaking to you from experience. It's not scriptural. I'm speaking to you from experience. My spiritual master ordered me to preach and print books in English. My God brothers, they gave me so much trouble, but I was very determined to serve my spiritual master. And now look at me. From that determination, look at me. But Srila Prabhupada was not listening to what the God brothers were saying. He was not looking for their approval because he was at a certain level to understand what is right to do. Because if we do not pay close attention also, then it could lead that devotees begin to think that, okay, this is what I want to do. Whether devotees are saying what I'm doing is okay or not okay, I'm not going to listen to them. But we are not there yet. And so both approaches are very necessary. And we should study ourselves, understand where we are at, and understand which path we need to follow. So yes, at the advanced stage, we do not pay much attention to what others say. They may slander us, they may criticize us, but our pinpointedness to serving Guru and Krishna will be unflinched. Hare Krishna, that's what I wanted to add to that.
Thank you very much, SAHADEVA Prabhu, for your elaborate explanation. Thank you very much, Srimad Prabhu. I think your both answers goes a long way to help clarify my mind. And then my internal meditations is enriched by your answers. So thank you very much. So if other persons have a question or comments, they can come in.
Devotees may reserve their questions for tomorrow. There is a very beautiful devotee speaking tomorrow.
Harishakra Prabhu, stand this up. Harishakra Prabhu, please unmute and ask a question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, SAHADEVA Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
for the in-depth explanation and all the Shastric information that you gave us.
Hey, were you here when I made reference to you throwing kids in the sky?
Yeah, so before I ask my question, I just want to do a follow-up with the questions. Is this Salika Prabhu who asked?
Yes, Alika Prabhu.
Yeah. I mean, what I realized that even regularly in our normal life, like today, gone are the days when you send, like if you send a parent, you send your child to school, you, the parent, you decide what you want the child to do. And whether the child likes it or not, the child try to fulfill the desire of the parent. And mostly because the child doesn't have a deeper satisfaction in that in that field, they used to end up halfway. Because in those days, some people will say, oh, I want my child to be a doctor. Meanwhile, the child is very inclined to something else, like engineering. But because the parents are pushing, then the child will try to obey the parent, and finally he will not even be able to achieve the required goal. Or if even he does, he becomes a doctor and he doesn't have job satisfaction. He does the job like mechanically. But recently, when we realized that when students are being taught to follow like their nature, what they are very inclined to, people end up coming up with very powerful and good results. And whatever end results they get, they enjoy the particular job that they are doing. So personally, what I'm thinking is, so does it not work with spiritual life too? Like you hear the scripture, you hear this thing, and you get some inclination to devote yourself to a particular service. And so in doing so, in trying to fulfill it, like Srimad Prabhu was saying, that if you don't look left and right, if you don't just listen to what people are saying about it, but deep within you, your whole mindset is that this is what I want to do to please Guru and Krishna. Will that not help us to be able to, forge ahead in our devotional life? Because of course, if even you do that, no matter what you do, you will definitely get people to criticize you, somehow or the other.
Yeah.
As long as we are in this world, there's nothing you can do that you think that everybody will approve of it. So based on that, if we always try to look around and see what people are thinking, oh, are people approving of this or disapproving of this, we may end up matching time, staying at one place for a long time. But if we actually open our heart and with our determination, we become focused and say, oh, this is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do to please Guru and Krishna. And you are very focused on that service. And no matter what people say about it, you still forge ahead. I think that in this way, you can make progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just by the way. But my actual question is this: that in the purport, when you were explaining, when Prabhupada quoted all these Bhagavad Gita verses, to say that out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for liberation, and of those who have achieved liberation, hardly does one even have any idea about who I am. And some people may also be endeavoring for perfection. And he said, out of many thousands, he didn't say out of 1 or 10 or 5 people. Out of many thousands, one may achieve perfection. And even of those who have achieved perfection, hardly does one know me. Sometimes if you hear something like this and you look at the type of devotional service you are doing and seeing yourself, hey, if Krishna is saying like this, then is it even going to be possible for me to go? achieve something. Because you see yourself that you can see people who have actually endeavored, who have actually taken steps to come to a level where you see them, you say, wow, this person is very advanced. And yet Krishna is saying that even among those people cannot even say that they know me. So that is it not? Doesn't this sound very discouraging? Hearing these words, that then it makes us, those of us who are in the ground here, it becomes like, oh boy. Then so we really need to put on our weight or something. And if even we put on all this weight, for how long are we going to be like this? So I want you to give a little bit about something that will give some little bit of encouragement. That
Well, Hare Krishna. Thank you for first of all your observation about parents wanting their children to pursue a particular profession. Probably that may even be contrary to the nature of their child, and applying that in a spiritual life. What parents attempt to do is the right thing, that the parents guide the children what they want the children to do. The unfortunate thing is that oftentimes the parents do not truly know their children, and therefore they do not know what is good for them. However, in the case of spiritual life, the guru is called guru because he's heavy and he's so expert that he knows the disciple much more than the disciple knows himself. Just like in soccer, those days, I believe they still do that. You have like small courts that are football courts. Is that how they call it? I think so. Like a small teams. They're playing. They're not even playing on a good soccer field. They're playing somewhere. And a very good coach sitting amidst the spectators, observe the players, and can figure out that this person can be very good. And based on the experience of that coach, he is able to single that particular person out and then coaches this person, and this person becomes a very renowned soccer player. So the spiritual master's responsibility is to get in the disciples and understanding the nature of the disciples engages the disciples in devotional service accordingly. Now, after the spiritual master has engaged the disciples in devotional service accordingly per their various natures, then the individual will have to use that talent, that nature within him to build upon what he wants to do. For example, a devotee may be interested in deity worship, and maybe he's out there distributing books. He's not good at talking to people. So the spiritual master can detect, can understand that this person can be much efficient in the altar than on the street. So the spiritual master engages that particular devotee working on the altar. But while on the altar, he is not put in a jacket that you cannot do anything else other than this. Because as you are on the altar, working, serving, every day, every night, the Lord will reveal certain things to you that you have to do, which may be different from what you did yesterday. So yes, it's very necessary and important that we do not leave devotees alone to decide what they want to do. They must be guided by the spiritual master. Now, the question is, if the spiritual master is competent enough, fortunately for us, based on the system created by Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master is competent enough to efficiently engage the disciples in their natural dharma. Now, the question about, what was the question again, Harichakra Prabhu?
Yeah, about the effort that we are putting in
The effort we put in,
and
yes.
hearing about these great personalities who have endeavored to achieve perfection.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Okay,
Krishna telling them that
it should not be discouraging. It should actually add to our conviction that Krishna is called Achyuta. He's called Achyuta for a reason. It's inconceivable. This is the position that it is very, very, very difficult to come to the knowledge that this Krishna is the source, is the cause of all causes. In today's world we live in, it is not too difficult. Why? Because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. We have, the other day, last weekend, we met at Gita Nagri, and I was having some discussion with my god brother, Jagannath Pandit Prabhu, and our uncle, Bhubrit Prabhu. And we were talking about time differences in different dimensions. We're talking about, we have 14 Manvatars, actually 28 Manvatars, and then we now have the 14th. And at the end of every 14th Manvata, that is when Lord Chaitanya appears and freely gives Krishna to each and every conditioned soul. But before the advent of Vasudeva Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most people only knew about Narayan. Those who even knew about Krishna, they all thought, just as even in today's world, lots of people still think that Krishna is as a result of Narayan. Narayan gives birth to Krishna. They do not understand that Krishna is the source of Narayan. That Narayan is, say like a byproduct or an offspring of Balaram. All the Vishnu forms are Balaram, and Balaram takes his source from Krishna. In today's world, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada, and our present-day acharyas, we are here understanding this. But prior to the advent of Vasudeva Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, it was very, very difficult, just like Krishna was telling Arjuna. So it should not be discouraging. It should actually make us feel fortunate that we are very much fortunate to be born in this very dispensation, in this cycle, that we can have the opportunity to understand that this Krishna, this Vasudeva Krishna, this seemingly ordinary, simple boy walking bare feet on the fields is the Supreme Lord. Even Lord Brahma was deceived. So who are us? But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Vasudeva Krishna, we are here today and understanding that this Vasudeva Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, is the cause of all causes, and it's mercy. And we have to try to make good use of this mercy given to us. Otherwise, it is exactly what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that even those who claim that they have attained liberation, hardly one knows him in truth, that he, Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Hare Krishna. I don't know if that helps Arijaka Prabhu with your question.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And yeah, because based on what you just said, then it's like it reminds me of when Jesus was telling his disciples, describing that if you get married and you divorce and you go and marry again, then you are guilty of adultery. And if the woman remarried, so much things he was describing. Then after the description, the disciples said, "Oh Lord, if this is the case, then none of us can ever be saved." and then Jesus said, "Well, with man, it's impossible, but with God, everything is possible."
Yes.
So, well, like that, like you are saying. So does that mean that then it means if we take that clue from what Jesus was saying, then it means that all our dependence is that we should know that by ourselves, there is nothing we can do. But if within us we are able to, within our heart we are able to say, "Oh Lord, oh Guru, I can't do anything, but use me the way you want me to do." And then by that you put whatever effort that you are putting in, just to depend on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So if that is the case, then then there's hope.
Yes.
That at least we are not thinking that, oh, by ourselves, by our endeavors and these things, but we are just depending on what Guru and Krishna themselves are making available, and then we put the little effort that we have just to forge ahead. So thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the biblical reference. Because we, on our own, I mean, we do not just sit down doing nothing and hoping that a spiritual master will come and then free us. Just like we are drowning in a very deep pond. And there is no way we can come out of the pond on our own. But if we have somebody who is ready to help us and throw into the pond a very big rope, strong rope, it also going to require our effort to holding on to the rope and trying to crawl up outside of the pond. And so both are necessary, the effort and the mercy. And that is why devotees are naturally humble, because devotees understand that their efforts alone is insufficient to help them. And they also know that the mercy to helping us get out of this material pool is also in part based on our effort to holding on to the, just like we read 2 days or so ago, silken rope, because silken rope is very strong, it hardly breaks. Holding on to that and then trying to crawl out of the deep pool. So both are necessary. So thank you for the reference. Hare Krishna. Salika Prabhu, I think it's time. It's almost 2 hours. You are muted, Salika Prabhu.
I didn't know.
No, today is Ekadasi. I hope it's Ekadasi in West Africa also, right?
Yeah, it's today's Ekadasi.
Yeah. So what Madhavendra Puri was saying in one of his prayers, that we are observing Ekadasi. All these things are necessary. But without the help of Krishna, you may fast, you may fast, you may fast and still not realize Krishna. So as we fasting today, we should not just become so proud that I'm observing this fast. So if you mean I committed such and such offense by observing this fast, because that is the karma kanda thing. Sutta Goswami was saying that Parikshit gave up all this karma kanda thing. I'm not saying we should give up these.
Yeah, but we should do it in the mood that
in the mood that we're doing this.
Depends on the grace or the kripa of Krishna.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you so
much, Masadi, for reminding us on that.
much.
So if there are no other comment or question, thank you, Dr. Zan. If there are no question or comment, okay, Dr. Zan's hand is up. Please unmute, Dr. Zan.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble respect of essences. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Sri Prabhupada, and all glory to our Sahadev devotees. Your Grace, please, my question is, when His Grace, I forget the name, His Grace, who is in Nigeria,
Varaha Prabhu.
Yes. When he was,
He's in Togo.
Yes, when I was outside, so I'm a bit distracted. But when he was saying something about we have to do it for 6 sake, because we have to do, not auspicious or unauspicious, but we have to do it.
Yeah.
And this raised my question. Sometimes chanting, it makes you so happy inside, and that is the best way to go to Krishna. One of the best way to go to Krishna, or that is the best way to go to Krishna. And that is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. Through the chanting, you become pure. But sometimes due to our circumstances in nature, the Maya, we find it very, very difficult sometimes to chant your rounds, your normal rounds. So, for instance, when you have some rounds to chant, it becomes like if you are not obliged to chant, you are not going to chant because maybe you are so tired. So in this state, how can one benefit from that? Because you are chanting, but you see yourself that you are not even doing it in the right way. But still, you have to chant because you are obliged to chant.
Yeah.
So if you are doing it for do sake, what benefit do you get from that? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's a very relevant question. Sometimes we do not have the enthusiasm to chant, but we still have to chant because we have made a vow that a minimum of 16 rounds a day we're going to chant. And we chanted this to please our Guru because we made a vow to our Guru in the presence of all the Vaishnava devotees, the host of demigods that most of us do not see with our naked eyes. At the time of initiation, all these great personalities are present, and we make this vow before them. And so sometimes, due to frailties to our conditioned life, we may not have the energy or the urge to chant. But because of this vow and trying to please the Guru, we chant anyway. So, well, the difference in that picture is that I am a married man. I love my wife and I love my children. And because I love my wife and I love my children, I have to cater for them. I have to care for them. And because I love them, and in order to cater for them, I need to have money. And therefore, I have to work. And because I love them, even when I do not feel like going to work, I still have to go to work. This is just a material example I'm giving. Those of us living in the cold, temperate regions, sometimes you have to drive through the snow. It's freezing. You still have to go to work, because if you do not go to work, you're not going to earn money to take care of your loved ones. And so out of love, it might appear like we are being forced, but it is actually out of love that we want to please the Guru. We want to stay committed to our vows. In fact, one of the characteristics of a Brahmin or a Vaishnava who is even higher than Brahmin is that he is very truthful and faithful. And so, even though we do not have the urge, the interest, the energy to chant, we still have to do it anyway. So whether it appears like we're doing it to please the Guru or please someone, is still in the good spirit and is in the good mood, because everything is based on love. Everything is based on love. And so if we inconvenience ourselves to please the Guru, that is when and where the mercy comes through. So I was giving an example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, it wasn't that because he is Nitya Siddha, he wasn't going through the rigorous, harsh weather in the West. He came from India, tropical zone, and he came to America, very cold. And at his advanced age, he could not withstand the cold, but he still had to do it. So it's inconvenience, but you still have to do it because you have so much love for your Guru that you want to do it. So we should see it that because we have so much, or at least we have some amount of love for our Guru and the process, we're going to do it, if even it is inconveniencing to us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, SAHADEVA Prabhu, for that.
Hare Krishna, your grace.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the question, Dr. Sen.
Thank you
So much. This is very, very wonderful answer. I'm very, very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Well, we're happy that you like the answer, that it satisfies your inquisitiveness. Thank you, Dr. Zan.
Yeah.
So,
And Salika Prabhu.
Yes, Arishakra Prabhu.
Yeah. And to top up what Dave just said, I think Srila Prabhupada also make a similar analogy. When Prabhupada says that a good wife knows that it's her duty to cook. So even though the weather may be very hot, and the kitchen is unbearable to stand in, yet the good wife will not say, because the weather is this hot, so I'm not going to light the fire, because the fire is going to make the kitchen too hot, that I cannot, but she still tolerates the heat, stand in there and cook, because she sees it as her duty to cook for the family.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada also gives that analogy, that we see it as our duty and we do it anyway.
Yeah.
But like the good wife, you will not say that because the weather is like that, so I'm just doing it some sharp thing. If even the food is tasteless, that is okay. I don't care if the food is tasteless. You still make the required effort to make sure that at least the food is presentable. It has something. And that's why Krishna also says that when Arjuna asked Krishna that sometimes you are so dejected. The mind will be taking you here and there. So it's not easy. And
Yeah.
Krishna says, with constant practice and determination,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marishakra Prabhu, for that beautiful reminder of Prabhupada's analogy. Prabhupada is very good with analogies to make a complex situation simple. Sri Govinda, you're not driving us today.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
All glories to Gurudev, all glories to Prabhupada, and all glories to you all.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much, dear devotees. So if there are no more questions or comments, I will do our daily rituals. Let us all now unmute ourselves and chant the loudest of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to appreciate our speaker and original host, His Grace SAHADEVA Prabhu, for a beautiful and wonderful Bhagavatam class.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Panchakarpataru Vyascha, Kripa Sindhya Sevascha, Patitanam Pavasnebhyo,
Tanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo
Ananta
Namaha.
Koti Vaishnava Vrinde Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaura Piminande.
Hare
Hare Hare Bo.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru Gora and Gorangari Haribo. So we look forward to